Bring it back.
Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Total War Arena. I'm Evolos, and today we're going to be looking at some slightly higher tier gameplay, the Tier 7 Barbarian Cavalry, the Blood Riders. So, if you remember, I did a video on the tier unit below this, the Tier 6, which is the Gungnir Chargers, and I wasn't really very impressed. I felt it was quite a downgrade from the Mounted Warband, and while the Gungnir Chargers did have an improved charge, they sort of really lacked any sort of stickability in combat. And once they were actually fighting the enemy, they really couldn't do much damage. But this is sort of a bit of a change. We have gone back to sort of the sword and shield units, similar to the Mounted Warband, and I feel things have significantly improved. So I've been playing these a bit now. I've got most of the upgrades I intend to do, as much as I want the wolf pelt helmets. They're kind of a downgrade, and for 8,000 experience I'd rather just get to the next unit quicker. So I've got the preferred sword. There's two sword options, one which does basically an increased charge, or one that gives increased melee damage when you're actually in combat. So obviously, compared to the Tier 6, these units have again got shields, and that makes a massive difference. Things like missile block chance has gone from basically nothing to what, 58 now, so quite significant improvements. Also their body armour, shield armour and defence has massively increased, their melee defence has increased, and also giving them a sword has increased their melee attack and weapon damage. So this means so when you charge into the back of someone after that charge is finished and you're just getting involved in the hand-to-hand fighting, these units actually do fairly well now, and can actually stand up for themselves a lot better than the Gungnir Chargers could ever do. So let's have a quick look at the stats. They have lost some of their charge impact and impact damage compared to the Tier 6 equivalent. Obviously, you've got to remember it's tier for tier. You know, if you look at the Gungnir Chargers, they had very good charge impact. So that means when they charge into the back of the unit, they did a lot of damage. But then they had very little melee defense, like missile block chance only 16, and very low body armor. So that meant that then once they were in combat, they couldn't survive very well. I do slightly miss. I was very critical of the dash ability of the Tier 6s at the time, but now it's been replaced by this blood payment, which frankly I'm not very impressed by at all. I don't really use it. You basically sacrifice a small amount of your health and you gain a slight increase in weapons damage, but as a consequence you have 5 seconds where you can't move, and while it does give you a minute of increased melee weapon damage, it's not really worth it unless you're about to go into a really hard battle where you're against vastly superior units and you're going to lose health pretty quickly, in which case it could be worth doing it to inflict an extra little bit of damage. But generally a pretty useless ability. Consumables wise, the consumables are almost entirely the same as they are on all the other tiers of Barbarian Cavalry. I had a look through them all, and I again went with the Swear Oath, which is the same I used basically on the other two tiers. You know, you can get some of these ones which reduces the enemy melee defense, which can be worth doing, or melee attack look, so you can brandish them, but you could actually use them. And I prefer the permanent buff of having the improved charge impact damage, and you get an increased combat attack, and you get a movement speed buff. It just seems to be everything that I'm looking for in a consumable, so I use that on all of them. And at this tier, there's really no reason to not be using consumables, so you know, you really should be, particularly for the cost, and the match should make on a game. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview of the Blood Raiders. Pretty good. The one thing I would say I have found though is now we're in Tier 7, the matchmaking is a lot harsher. At Tier 6, that basically meant that you didn't get put into those really high tier games. Now at Tier 7, you know, we're pretty often meeting Tier 10 units, and a lot of Tier 9s and 8s, and these units do struggle. It's not so much because of the unit's fault that it's a bad unit, but it's just because the matchmaking at this stage there's not that many people playing high tier units because they're still in the closed beta, so that makes things pretty difficult. So bear that in mind when we hop into battle. So let's hop into a battle and see what we can do. So we are loading in on Hadrian's Wall, not really my favourite map, and after all I criticised about the matchmaking of this unit, we've actually got into a really good game. Only 3 cavalry units. Got to watch out if the enemy have got some high tier Romans. while these units, these tier 7 cavalry are good at engagements, they do not win against the Roman cavalry. The Roman cavalry start to get very good at the high tiers. That's a tech tree I'm going to be going down shortly to see what they're like. So I think firstly we're going to head up over here down to the sort of south of west of the map. See what we can see. Hopefully try and avoid getting into any big fights too early on. I don't like this map because of the big wall, obviously, being Hadrian's Wall. Kind of really prohibits sort of view range and getting a bit of an idea of how things are panning out. And so I don't really like that. I like to be able to see sort of where all the units are and what I'm playing with before I make choices about who I'm going to engage. So I can sort of try and set my fights to be winning fights already. So we have got some friendly infantry and quite a few missile units. There's some... okay. So enemy infantry pushing straight through that gap already. Some Roman cavalry over there, some Celeres. We'll push into the little forest here, see what they're going to do. They're going to go straight for archers, so we can move straight in. And activated a very inaccurate charge there. So they've activated Water Cry. We're going to go for a frenzy, see what damage we can get up. So because we're 2 tiers high, we should be able to win in terms of the melee fighting. I'm a little bit worried about this archer of fire we've got coming in from over the wall over there, look. And we've now got some Gungnir chargers coming in. Our archers have got out to safety, but I think we need to start to think about pulling out. Particularly with those Gungnir chargers coming in, so let's try and break off from this engagement. So we've got enemy infantry coming in there. I think this is one just to run. Blimey. So we're getting a bit tight. But hopefully you can see, I mean, initially, even though that went kind of badly, just from the massive increase in survivability these units get. After all that, I lost basically 25% of my health on each unit. Which is a massive improvement from what, you know, you'd ever expect to get previously out of this unit. The problem is now there's just enemy cavalry everywhere. Let's get a charge in here. They still have a respectable charge, these units. But the problem is I'm now fighting against legionaries everywhere, so I'm just trying to do what damage I can. If I can break this Celeres before he... Come on, break, you bastards. Come on. Right, okay, broken. Let's get out of here.
The enemy base will soon be ours.
I think this flank has gone. I think it's just time to get out, to be honest. I feel a little bit bad about leaving some of the units here, but there's really nothing I can do. I mean, I can't take on head-to-head with heavy Roman infantry. That's not a fight I can win. And with there being the bulk of the enemy forces over this side, it's just a suicide mission to say that. I've been trying to sort of keep things going, but it's just a lost cause, really. So I think we're going to pull out and see what else we can find. Looks like we're pushing into the enemy base. It could be quite a short one, this one, if we end up capturing straight away. It looks like we're going to. It looks like the enemy haven't even attempted to defend their base at all. Oh, quite a short mission then. Okay, well that was a bit of an unexpected victory. We didn't really contribute a great deal in that one. See how we did. Yeah, pretty short battle. I didn't really get a chance to do much damage there. Our team just charged straight in and the enemy had left the base completely open. Gives you a bit of an idea of the consumable cost as to what you're earning. I still made 13,000, so again, use consumables. We really might as well. Since that was a bit short, let's hop straight into the battle, see if we can get a bit of a better fight. So we're loading into the Battle of Marathon, but as I feared, we've sort of got a lot more cruel matchmaking this time. There's a few of the tier 7s with us, but mostly we're facing a large couple of tier 10s, a lot of tier 8s. We're really going to struggle against some of these people. So it's really going to be a case of just looking for our opportunities where we can. There's a bit of arty, so the enemies like to have artillery on their team as well. How many cavalry are there? 1 or 2 units of cavalry may have to face, but not really any archers, so hopefully we shouldn't see too many archers, although that's basically the only thing we're going to be good for killing for, so that's probably a bit unfortunate, really. We'll activate momentum and do a quick surge forwards, see what we can see. Also, we've got to be careful of enemy cavalry, but as a general rule, even at this tier, we're still one of the quickest things on the battlefield, so we don't have to worry too much about getting caught into trouble. Our main worry would be things like enemy artillery. So I'm looking in the distance for shots coming out. I see shots are going to have a rapid change of direction, because we've got artillery on our team, so you normally expect when one team has artillery, the other team normally does, although not always with this matchmaking. So the enemy are pushing heavy infantry up the centre. Oh, we've hit something. Our people are stood near the banner, and the artillery is just firing at the watchtower there. Not seeing a lot up here to the north, which is kind of surprising. Oh, there we go. There's some Praetorians, some tier 9 Roman infantry there. We do not want to be going face to face with them. They'll decimate my units in about 10 seconds. Okay, so they're making a bit of a push to the centre. Some pikes there. Ah, some enemy cavalry. What are they? I think they're Greek cavalry. Okay, we stand a chance against them if we can get them locked in a bit of hand-to-hand. They're pretty weak hand-to-hand, but they have a very strong charge. So they could be a suitable target to try and go for. We've got some tier 10 Royal Spartans. They sound very menacing. So we've got some enemy pikes in the forest. Let's have a look if these Greeks are spoiling for a fight or not. So they're making a bit of a dash. We really want to try and avoid their charge if we can, so I'm going to make a feint of running for it. They've hammered, so I'm going to now turn and charge and get them in the back like that. That couldn't have panned out better, apart from the fact of all these people charging in from the back. So hopefully the Greeks will keep running. That's what we want. Keep running, Greeks. Keep running, keep running. So we're dragging them away from their friendly infantry, which has given up. And we should be faster than these Greek cavalry. So hopefully we can keep harassing them as they run away. We've just got to be careful that we don't get dragged onto any enemy infantry. So we've got some Romans pulling back here, but they have got a fight they've got to deal with already. I'm getting a reasonable amount of damage in, although not as much as I'd like because they keep running away. But we're accruing a reasonable amount of damage here. Look, we've half-tailed one of their units. Obviously, they're about to get engaged into some friendlies. They've initiated a charge. We'll stick at the back for now. We've got to watch out. The Roman cohorts are obviously still down there. One of them is routed, which is good, and been eliminated. But we don't want to get involved in that infantry fight quite at the moment. So let's get out. That was a very successful start. That's something you can always try and do with barbarians against particularly Greek cavalry, because their Greek cavalry have quite a short charge, but it's a very devastating charge, so you really want to avoid that initial charge. So if you can sort of bait them and turn and get them to bait into that charge, you can, like I did, they charge, but because I'm so much quicker than them, their charge didn't reach me, and then once they'd expended their charge I was able to turn on them and use my much longer charge to sort of get up behind them. So they're sort of loitering around near the cohort. They've charged some Spartans. I can't imagine that was a terribly good idea. So they're now well into our lines, so we should be able to catch up with them, hopefully. I think they've perhaps given up and are just charging anything now. So charge them. And I think we can safely say that was fairly effective. And that's them dead. Okay. A reasonable start to our game considering we're very low tier, so we've eliminated an entire enemy unit of cavalry. So it looks like the fight is generally going well with our troops, so I think we might as well try and see if what we can do to assist against these Romans. So we've got 30 seconds before we can charge again. We could conceivably just plough into the back of them without a charge, see if we can break their morale.
Our base under attack. We must stop them.
If we can get a rear flank, that's what we wanted. I should break them. There we go. Good bit of free damage there. Try and rack that up. There we go. Awesome. So let's head back towards base a little bit. Looks like the enemy is pushing up pretty aggressively on our base now. Try and get some pressure on them. There's some javelins there, 3 units of elite velites, that it would be very satisfying to charge into. Particularly actually they're actually starting to cap pretty quickly, so we do need to think about this. We're going to activate infiltration. I know we're visible at the moment, but if it just stops the enemy paying attention that little bit longer, that's all we need. So we've got our friendly artillery bombarding the base. We've lost line of sight on the enemy, so it depends how much attention these velites are paying to us being friendly. Most people at this tier are aware of infiltration and aren't so silly as to fall for it as a general rule. But activate the charge. Oops, I sort of stopped the charge way too early there. I was not very successful. But we've reset our base capture and we've rear flanked some velites. They're still doing quite a lot of damage to us, but at least we've routed them. And we are killing tier 9 units here with tier 7, so we should get a good amount of points for this. The enemy spears are coming back. Okay, so it's time to break off this engagement. We are getting very heavy casualties from... Oh! No, that's friendly. Quite a lot of casualties from those spears, but we did what we needed to do. We reset the base capture. And that's actually all we needed. So I think we'll leave them in there just for a second and see what we can contribute out here in the field. So we've got some enemy spears engaged. We could have a look potentially at doing something against them. Or we can just have a go at some of these legions here, maybe. We can rear flank these few units here. I'm not sure that's quite panning out for us. We're not getting the rear flank that we wanted. We've not got enough remaining units, I don't think. And we're about to get charged by some spears. So definitely time to get out. We've only got a few units left now. It looks like we should still win this one. By and large. We've got the numbers, so it looks like we've probably done enough. Since these units seem to just be charging. Looks like the velites are just getting stuck right in. So we'll give one of them a charge with what we've got left. Which about finished me off. Okay, that's us dead. But we did a reasonable amount of damage there. We got quite a bit of support, did some spotting damage. I'm pretty pleased about how it went at the start against those Greek cavalry. It removed a threat from the game. It was a relatively low tier threat. And now hopefully the rest of our units should be able to mop up. We're capturing the enemy base. We have got 3 units of barbarian cavalry, I think. Or are they... No, they're Roman. There might be a Roman premium unit, which is good. Bit of a tough fight going on hand here. It looks like the enemies are going to win this one. The Royal Spartans are about to break, which they have done, and the Centurions are sort of losing their morale as well. But we should still win on the capturing, so it doesn't really matter. The velites we did a bit of damage to, but looks like we're about to get the cap. So that was actually quite a good game. I enjoyed that, and that's sort of really how you have to work when you're these low tiers and these high tier games. Just look for your opportunities where they can. Try and get your damage in where possible. So let's have a look how we did on the scores. So yeah, it was a reasonable game. 850 commander experience, 2,300 unit experience. Now one unit did a lot better than the others. Yeah, and we got 4th. That's not too bad for a tier 7 unit when we were in a tier 10 game. A reasonable amount of that even came from aggression as well. We got quite a few kills, damage, we routed some people as well. A bit of spotting damage, a little bit from stopping a capture. We got some points for that, for resetting the base cap and the victory. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. It's given you a bit of an insight into the tier 7 Barbarian Cavalry. I quite enjoy them. Certainly well worth a good unit to play. Very enjoyable. Hopefully the tier 8 is going to be as good. I'm going to start up the Roman Cavalry Tetri next to see what they're like as a comparison. I think they, by all accounts, are a lot tougher. Particularly been watching some of the videos people like Jackie Fisher have done and stuff. And some of these got some very tough. The Praetorians at tier 9 seem really strong. So something to look forward to. I'll be doing more Total War videos over the next week. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about these tier 7 Barbarian Cavalry. Thanks guys, and I'll see you on the next video.